Hello and welcome, Exiles. Recently, I decided I wanted to farm for Mageblood for hopefully a pretty high-end build, and I was going through my ways of farming currency. Of course, I ended up on Sanctum. I love Sanctum. It makes a lot of divines, but specifically, I wanted to try out a different approach to it. A lot of people are doing the 2 additional room reveals. That's very strong, but also very, very expensive. The 2 additional room reveal relics, for example, are about 16 divines, and you need 8 of them, which is approximately a lot of money. Now, that being said, most of us don't have that money. What is another good method to have a fairly consistent return on currency? And I am going to propose quantity of relics dropped. I specifically have 4 relics with 25% increased quantity. Now, these are the top tier roll, T1 roll, with the highest roll on them. There's not many of them on the market, but the good news is I have been told you don't need to have perfect 100% for Lycia to duplicate and drop 2 unique relics. I've been told by somebody who said they've done 70 runs with 89%, which is closer to like 21, 22, 23 rolls. He said on those, he got a double relic every single time. Now, double relic is referring to the unique relic Lycia drops. She always drops 1 unique relic, and apparently with at least, I guess, 89%, you can always drop 2. The reason this is valuable is Lycia has a drop table of about, I think it's like 6 or 7 relics. And 2 of the most common ones, the Censor or the Hour Divinity and the Chalice relic, the ones that duplicate rewards, are both valuable because you sell them to the people running additional room reveals because they're the ones hunting for divines. And essentially, the Chalice is worth about 1.5 divine, and the other relic is about worth 0.6 divines or something. So effectively, every single time you do a run, you are usually getting one of these relics. Sometimes I've had even a duplicate drop of double Chalice, and that's just another 2.6 divines on top of the normal loot that's always there. This makes the runs harder because you don't have the additional like max resolve when you kill a boss or whatever, but you're getting a lot of additional unique relics. And not only unique relics, you're getting the regular relics, which is also valuable because, for example, if you drop 2 additional rooms, that's boom, 16 divines there. If you drop other rare combinations like 2 additional merchants with reduced costs, I believe Kobe Back Mamba's trying out a strategy where he's pushing up basically the buying out the boon market from like the merchant, essentially Divinia, and then attempting to double the double with that to try to make 2 divines become 8 divines in a single run, which is a pretty cool strategy. Point is, farming these relics, the regular relics that drop, they have value. Most of them are worthless. You ID worthless, ID worthless, ID worthless, but then occasionally you ID it and boom, you have a large stack of divines right there. So it's a lot of additional rewards at no real additional cost. I'm running these with Balance of Terror, basically challenge relic, but you don't have to do that. You could do a different 2-slot relic of your choice. You could even run the duplicate reward if you want to. I think these runs are fairly like chill because there's not a cost to them. You don't have to go and specifically do the duplicate boon or the duplicate challenge relic. You could just run no challenge at all and just have the extra relics dropped. I'm getting a little bit extra loot from doing the Balance of Terror, but keep in mind it makes Lycia harder, so you have to have a build that is capable of it if you're going to run it with this. But I was going to go ahead and showcase here what it looks like to do a Lycia with this, drop the additional relics, and then kind of go over so far my testing with this and how it's gone. I have done approximately this strategy all yesterday, and essentially in the course of my entire stream, I want to say I made about close to 100 divines, probably roughly about there. I haven't sold any of my sextants. I haven't sold any of my challenge relics. I will show the stash for it when we get there to give you a little bit of ideas what it's done for me. But I think in terms of like not having to really play into doing a harder challenge relic, you can just run these just without any challenge relic and they still have the additional loot of the extra relics. I think it's quite profitable. For a pre-fire sanctum run into our wither, hopefully we can kill Lycia. Be a little bit careful here because this is a dangerous attack. But we kill her. Now you can see she dropped 2 Censor relics, 3 regular relics, and the Balance of Terror. Normally the drop would normally be like 1 relic, and you'll see we got the Hour Divinity, and then I got a Balance of Terror relic. So I'm sustaining my Balance of Terror relics as well. And then on top of that, we got all these other relics. Now, the Coffer relics and the Candlestick relics, they can get value if you drop, I think, quantity of items found. Maybe if you have a really max rolled, max resolve one, and like I don't know, Inspiration Affliction one. I'm not sure what rolls as valuable. Usually the most valuable relics are these 2-stat ones or the 3-stat ones, which you can drop like a merchant or something. But you'll see this is throughout the run. You drop quite a few relics, and then the unique relics on top of it is just additional loot on top of your sanctum. Now, of course, we still have the regular currency of whatever we got throughout the run as we did it, like divine, sextants, whatever it is, that piles up. But we're also piling up these challenge relics. You'll see if I go to my stash right now, if I was going to look at my challenge relic pile, I have a bunch of these Hour Divinities, I have a bunch of these Gilded Chalices, and this is just additional money on top of, if I were to ID this and it said 2 additional rooms, boom, that'd be a stack of divines. They're rare, they don't happen very often, but the idea is simply that we're printing out these relics, basically fishing for the good ones, and that is just additional divines to the currency farm of Sanctum without any additional investment outside of the initial quantity, basically challenge relics. And then if we have Balance of Terror, I could sell unID'd for like 100 chaos or whatever they go for. But I like to gamble them and ID for Despair, which I think is like a divine. If I hit CDR, that's like 4 divines. So it's nice little loot there. So that's the thing I've been doing. I think this is a fairly effective strategy. And in terms of cost of investment, when you're talking about how expensive relics can be for specific strategies for farming currency, I think this is a relatively cheaper option to get started into farming additional currency, because you don't necessarily need to have an expensive challenge relic. You can just do, like, for example, the Blood of Innocence. This is on average 100C extra because it balances terrors every time you get them. If your build can't do them, don't worry, you're still getting all the extra loot from the relics and whatever you find divines. Essentially, I just fish for like all Scrying Crystal or All Seeing Eyes to get vision, and that way, which you still end up seeing 80%, 85% of the rooms. You're going to miss a little bit of divines here and there versus the 2 additional room relics, but every single run, getting that additional unique relic from Lycia, getting that extra roll to get the Hour Divinities, the Chalice, those are divines. And then if you get really lucky, you could get an original scripture. It's very rare. This doubles your odds of seeing it. You're probably still not going to see it unless you do a lot of Sanctum, but when you drop it, it's going to be a cool 30, 40, 50 divs, whatever the price of that thing is. I'm not sure. I haven't checked the market. And I just thought this was pretty solid. I've been told 89% is enough to always see double. I'm not sure. They've done 70 runs, so maybe there's some base 20, 10% chance for Lycia to drop 2 relics. I don't know what it is. I know for sure I've done Lycia and I've had her drop 2 relics or 2 unique relics before without any quantity. So I'm guessing there's a small chance she drops double. And then maybe if you just put on the 80% or whatever it is, that just knocks her over to always dropping 2. But what I can say is I have been doing this, and I think it's a pretty good currency starting strategy. I'm doing it specifically because I want to farm up to a Mageblood, because I have, hopefully, what is a pretty strong build plan. I'm not usually one to go this level of investment. Last league, I know we did the Giga RF community-funded build, which was just a whole different ball game of investment, but I have, hopefully, a pretty good build plan. I never built with Original Sin in Sanctum League. It felt like it was too expensive to build around, but I think I'm getting over my own stigma of building around an expensive item because we're a month in. I think people maybe want to see some cool min-max builds. So I'm going to try to farm up the currency to do that and run at least 1 giga build this league where it's something beyond the normal like 50 divine or less investment that I do for most of my characters. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video on this idea of doing quant relics. I think it's very solid, especially for a lower investment. If you want to make more money out of Sanctum, I think it works great. And hopefully y'all enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Take care, Exiles, and peace out.